We'll go ahead and start.
It's 4 o'clock. Yeah, we'll call to order, this meeting of the Downtown Economic Vitality Subcommittee. The minutes are in front of you and,
Actually, I'm sorry, I didn't have minutes because we didn't have
or
the
the,
lady from the last.
yeah, since we didn't meet in April. The agenda is in front of you. If anybody has anything you'd like to add to it, this will be a good time, or submit for approval as presented.
Make a motion to accept it.
Seconded, all right. Today we are meeting Bradley and Marissa Heron.
Hi there.
For a historical preservation.
Okay, so this will be the first time this committee has started to review the historic preservation grants. So those were previously with the Community Character Committee. But we moved them over because this committee focuses more on buildings and businesses, and that really seemed to fit a little bit better. But we've got Linda, who's participated on the other committee, so she can kind of give a little bit of history on some of those, the processes we've done before, and I can too. And Aaron has participated in that too, just for the folks who haven't.
Nancy, did you ever participate?
Nancy too, yes.
It used to be when we were the infrastructure committee, though, we did.
Yeah, so it's just, we're just shifting the committees around for it. And last year, a year before, Community Character did do some updates on the grant applications. In the packet, I've got their application plus their quote, and then also included just the overall grant program information and how that works. I'm just skipping real quick. And just email about what the work that they're doing that they had sent me. So before we kind of talk about and review it, do y'all want to talk a little bit about what you're doing overall with the project?
Yeah, so we came out here last summer, I'll just give you a little background, and we went to the farmer's market and walked the street, and it was still under a lot of construction. We saw the building, and we were like, this is great, we gotta move here and open a restaurant. So we packed up in Florida, sold our house and moved here as soon as we could. We saw the building and didn't really know what we were getting ourselves into, right? We didn't even see the inside, we just saw the outside, we're like, this is great, we love it. And, you know, we know Lyle from a long time, we used to live on the same street in Miami way back when. And he owns the building, so he's like, it's good, great building, I think there's some taller ceilings in there, but you gotta figure it out. And so January 1st, we signed the lease, sort of sight unseen, and started doing demo and started to strip it back to its original glory, and fell in love with the interior and the brick and the vaulted ceilings, and said, this is it. Let's try to keep this as original as we can by modernizing it somewhat to make it functional for a restaurant. And so we've been chugging away at it. We spent a lot of money with some of the local team in Swanner and Dunlap to build it for us, and we've been there putting in the work. And you know, we heard about this grant, we thought it'd be a good opportunity to get a little bit of, you know, a coin to help us with revitalizing the building. We want to do more work than what was in our scope. However, you know, we don't have investors, we don't have family money, we're sort of just bootstrapping this ourselves and trying to get the place as good as we can get it, inside and out as we can before we open, which we're trying to do as soon as possible. We both sort of dropped everything in our lives to move here and open this restaurant, so we're super excited. You know, there's some stuff like the grant covers a lot of things. There's a lot of things in here that is in the grant scope, and there's some things that are not. We just want to be transparent and show what we're spending and trying to make the building as great as we can. We want to add some lights for outside to make it a little bit more safer at night. You know, more light is better, so to speak. We want to enhance the brick that's outside and restore that. The original door that's there, that sort of round door, we want to keep that and, you know, maybe clean it up and paint it and put some new hardware on it. So there's like so many things that we want to keep expanding and improving on. But right now we're trying just to get it open sort of as soon as we can to get the place just operational, with the idea that we're going to keep investing and making the place better and better. So like outside seating was a great opportunity that we want to expand upon once we get our feet on the ground. So we plan on growing some roots there and really, I don't know, doing right by the town, honoring that building as the Chicken Shack, and hopefully it'll be known as Hearth and Heron. In 20 or 30 years from now, when somebody else is there, they'll say, this is that Hearth and Herring fried chicken.
Want it to be a neighborhood restaurant where, you know, we know everyone's face coming in. We really want it to be kind of like an establishment like Chicken Shack, except Hearth and Herring. So that's kind of like what we want.
Yeah, neighborhood restaurants,
Yeah.
been our sort of tagline.
Yes.
To us, that means community and establishing relationships with the town and cooking honest food from the honest farmers and artisans around this area.
Yeah.
Oh,
Exactly what Saturday was, basically.
Mm.
Yeah.
Cool.
cool.
Guess first, I'll just see if anybody have any questions for them as our,
I just have a basic question. So which building is this now?
Chicken Shack.
I'm at the corner of Locust and Seventh.
The Amish store.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
It's
All right.
Blue Gable gas station if you're old. You can't overlook its original use, all due respect to the chicken.
I guess the question I would have, then. As you read through the material, you'll probably saw some of one of the big points with the grant is that work is not supposed to have started, but
Yeah.
obviously you're midpoint somewhere. So, as the grant says, it can match up to $6,000, which means up to 12,000 for you, you know, in terms of what you would spend. So what haven't you completed? Like, so we've got the list and normally people will like send in, you know, a picture of what it is, a picture of what it's gonna look like, or some sketch of that. And then say, you know, this part of it's going to cost $12,000 and we would like a grant for 6,000 for that particular part. So what specifically are you guys, and I know you talked about the brick and the door, so where does that all fall into monetarily? And you haven't done that yet.
Right.
So I guess where are you?
Yeah, so like we weren't sure, like the front entry door, like we ripped them out and we're gonna order and replace those. Like they haven't been installed yet. Would that qualify for that?
yeah.
Yes. So
Okay.
do you have kind of a breakdown of that?
Yeah, we could get very specific
Yeah.
with some photos of like the original windows that used to be in the bar room that we call it. It was all bricked up. So like we took down the brick and we're gonna order new windows and put those in, like that would qualify for that too, right?
Yeah.
So we can get very, very specific for sure. We had a little bit of open-ended questions on how that would be and what it would qualify for.
Yeah, so,
And you can get very specific with an itemized breakdown on all the nuts and bolts of the things.
yeah, and of what you, still need to complete and what you
Okay.
think will fall under the facade grant.
So picture and then an itemized kind of breakdown of those things.
Yeah.
is what-
Jamie.
Yeah, and we've done it before too, and if people are comfortable with it, of kind of a tentative type of approval after getting that information, just like making sure to look at it, really a big part is making sure to look at it, to make sure you're not like really changing a lot of like the historic parts of the building to make it like not fit with the style and the vibe or whatever. So that's something that we could even do if the committee feels comfortable with it, is kind of a tentative based off of something, or if y'all wanted to, we make it come
Well,
back.
and it lists new storefront and windows
Mhm.
on there. So, I mean, if you're putting in the new windows, you know, I mean, I can't even remember what we did it for White Duck. I can't remember if it was the windows or the awnings or
Mhm.
I don't know, but it was something like that.
Is any of that come under any kind of review, like design review?
So in our grants, since Seventh Avenue doesn't fall in under the Historic Preservation Commission, we have said that it would, need to fit within, for these grants of if it were in a historic district, like that, So Sam- yeah, so that way Sam or the Historic Preservation Commission can just say, yeah, this would be in line with it if it were a historic district.
Been over there? Sam been over there?
I'm not sure.
Okay.
Oh.
I'd just be,
That's something we can-
as you say, it would just be better to know in advance and have that sort of,
Yeah.
nothing else, tacit approval based on knowing what the changes are gonna be,
Yeah,
per the standards.
Yeah, Sam's with the Historic Preservation Commission. And, so,
Just as
Yeah.
it's friendly advice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
yeah, so that's something that we can do after, like, this, is get Sam together and just kind of review if there's anything that kind of doesn't fit within that historical standards, that Secretary of Interior standards for it. I don't think much of it, I think you've got many things that you're working on it. Even if some of the things don't fall in it, there probably would be plenty that still would. The brick restoration, that's a big one, always, doors, windows. I'll be able to send that to you, what kind of those standards are, but I don't foresee, unless you just do something that's really, not fitting with the look. I can't imagine there'd be much that would be.
No,
For
we're
it.
planning on matching the neighborhood's aesthetic in terms of the exposed brick with the black framed windows, that sort of new old look, yeah.
Yeah,
How much of that outside work has been done?
The outside work, so like, we took down the old bricks where the windows used to be, and so now it's just an opening that's exposed, same thing with the front door.
Yeah.
So like, that's in process, it's not completed.
Cause those bricks have filled in a former window.
Yeah, yeah.
So
It's
they're
like,
putting back what was originally there.
Correct.
what the window was there, yeah.
Do y'all have any old pictures?
yeah. We have a lot
Yes, oh, good, yeah.
A lot.
Good.
from back in the like original building or
No,
from
no,
like
no,
when we took
before
over.
we started, right?
That, or if you've got any of their old, like, historic pictures and you.
I wish.
I was asking everyone on Saturday if they had some.
Okay.
We want to see them, actually.
There is a way to get those because,
Someone said to go to the historical building.
yeah, Tiffany Perdome, our architect on our Main Street building, just got
Oh, okay, that's.
several original pictures.
I'm sure we can probably help find some of those.
No, that's good to know.
So you guys have new storefront and windows, like a breakout for that.
Mhm.
Is that kind of where you're thinking you're falling in? Which
Yeah.
is that $20,000 figure?
Yeah, that's accurate. It might be a little bit of change, like 20,100 and.
Yeah.
Well, you've got
That's kind of specifically.
Yeah, so it's,
we
Okay,
have a list of
Focusing on this.
work that they're gonna do. If you guys don't have a specific idea of where you want to apply it for a grant, we could probably help you figure out what fits the best out of this that we have here.
Yeah, I think that, what she was getting at.
yeah, this.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's got a breakout right here already, new storefront and windows
That was-
would qualify, and that's 20,000. I mean, our grant really only goes up to that 6,000 match anyway.
Mhm.
So that would be more than,
Yeah,
yeah,
the dollar figure is above.
Yeah,
yeah, I mean, every bit helps, so
Yeah.
whichever
Yeah.
was super appreciated.
So for the purposes of the grant, if we focused in on that, the next step would be listing out exactly what that 20,000 budget would look like in this item.
That's what I think, yeah.
With pictures.
like a breakdown.
Their item.
Okay.
Right.
you got any kind of drawings of what?
Yeah, we have
Oh, that, yeah,
drawings of how the windows are gonna look,
okay.
yeah, where the framing is and stuff like that.
Yeah, that would be great for it. And you know what your timing is on that?
Couple weeks,
Weeks, okay.
So therein lies the question.
mid to late May.
What do y'all think part of the committee on if they get that to me? And then that's checked out with Sam with historic preservation, and he can kind of pick through what. As long as it follows the secretary standards, so kind of a
I'd just make it conditional
pending approval based off of
on that review.
that review.
of Standards,
PR. That seems,
Yeah, I feel comfortable with that.
I do too.
And do you have enough,
Okay.
I don't know what you guys have left in your grant money, so you've got,
yeah, we're, I mean, it's, at the beginning of the year, it was a little slim because we weren't sure how our events were gonna do. Because we weren't sure how our sponsorship was gonna be, because we thought that it was maybe less because of the hurricane. But Terry is
Woo.
a masterful salesperson. So it's going quite well on our sponsorship. And then, this summer, we may have more, it all kind of just depending on the weather with Rhythm and Brews. That's kind of our,
Okay.
that will tell us if we have much more accurate, because we will have at least one or two more grants that come to us, but I feel pretty good about our funding right now. And just for y'all's note, in that packet, it also had, if you need an extra loan. So basically, if it's approved from a facade grant through us, then you can qualify for an additional, I think it's $25,000 for a loan with Mountain BizWorks at a lower interest rate, which
Yeah, I
is a
saw
lot less hoops you've got to go through. So that might help kind of stretch your dollars out a little bit.
Cool.
Okay.
So I guess it's kind of hearing that an approval conditional on review of
Based
the.
on review, yeah.
Will we be ready then next week for the downtown board to?
It really just needs to go to the committee, but if we've got there, if we have it before then, we can have them to see it, but if not, then.
Next month.
It can just be approved, and it can be just at the committee.
I already have all this stuff.
Oh, we can give it to you literally today.
Oh.
We have the pictures,
Oh.
we have the breakdown.
Oh.
By end of day today, I can get that to you.
So
Yeah.
I'll, yeah, so then we can just have that back on the downtown board
That way,
agenda, and then it's all good to review and cover that. All right,
So we will move this to next week's downtown advisory board meeting.
Is that when you, I'm just
Yeah.
for sort of rules purposes, is that when you would make a motion?
no, I think we would want to have a motion here on that conditional approval, conditional on the review, so then that way, if that can all get approved, then we can just have for the board that the Economic Vitality Committee and Sam have reviewed it, so then that way we don't have to worry about the questions.
With a narrower scope, moving it to downtown advisory board, a motion for that next week.
Say again, sorry.
Making a motion to move it to the downtown advisory board now with this narrower scope on.
No, we just
I
have
think
to
she's saying we can just make a motion to.
approve it.
Approve it based on those parameters.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then go from there.
Yeah, because we don't have to, these just get approved in the committee. We don't have to go into the downtown board. We'll just let the board know that the committee's approved it.
Make the motion.
Mhm.
Okay, so
I'll make it unless he wants to, but I'll make the motion that we approve it pending, I guess, the review from Sam and obviously pictures, paperwork and all the other things we asked for you guys.
okay.
and do we want to make a motion to approve it for the $6,000?
Yeah.
And I can send that information back out to everybody so you've got it. Okay, so we've got a motion. Second.
I'll second it.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, yeah, so y'all just send that to me and then we'll take a look at everything and I think we should be good. And thank y'all for all that you're doing over there. We're really looking forward to.
Oh, thank you all. This is a town that we really fell in love with and we're super excited to be here for this.
Yeah.
We've got several committees and boards, so after you get kind of your feet wet in, and I'm sure you'll be called on from.
The join.
Happy to help. Happy to join.
Yeah, if you need any feedback on menu and stuff, this is a great group to go over and we will just eat all night long.
Well, I've been the taste tester so far. I can tell you it's great. I'm willing to do so.
Since we do have several kind of new people in the room, kind of want to go around real quick and introduce everybody.
I'm Stephanie Sweeney and I'm the summer intern. I'm actually getting my master's degree in public administration. And have a long history in the hospitality industry, 30 years plus. But excited to be switching over to government, but still talking to my favorite people. I love it.
My name is Jerry. I'm the general manager of Mountain Deli up on Fourth and Main.
Nancy Nykerk, I'm just a neighbor.
I'm Erica Hodges. I have several buildings in the downtown and Hendersonville area, White Duck, one on Main Street, the Blue Door, and Moe's Barbecue. Thanks.
Daniel Carey with Pisgah Legal Services.
I'm John Ryan. I guess I've been hanging around the sports for a long time. But I got involved with the train club years ago and then it migrated to this, so it's been fun.
I'm Aaron. I'm the owner of White Duck Taco Shop, with my wife on Seventh Avenue.
Perfect. Marissa Heron, I'll be front of the house at Hearth and Heron.
Bradley Heron, chef owner, Hearth and Heron. I'm Oliver Wall. I'm general manager at Mass General Store. Oh, right on, right there. We're looking for a new place for a holiday party. Okay. Awesome. We'll be happy to have you.
Linda D. Paola, my company's Rusnick Properties, and I own a couple of different buildings over on Seventh and Locust Street, and we're neighbors.
I'm Dakota Parker. I'm the events and marketing assistant for downtown. I run the farmers market on Seventh.
Awesome.
Terry Jacobs, city events coordinator.
Jamie Carpenter, downtown manager.
It's nice meeting you all.
Nice
We're happy to
meeting
be here.
Yes.
We're gonna talk about a few other things. You're welcome to stay, you're welcome not to stay, whichever you prefer.
Yeah, no, we got plenty of time.
The next thing we've got, I just added this on, so this wasn't in what I emailed out. But everyone's favorite section that we want to talk about, and get action on is the vacant building ordinance. I can't take
Any more parking?
We're not. No, the new thing that we've been talking about for a while is the vacant building ordinance, and how we can kind of get some movement on some of the properties that have sat there without any attempt of doing anything for it. And luckily, we have a summer intern who can start looking at that. So Stephanie, you just want to kind of say what you're kind of starting to do, what you're thinking about doing?
Well, so currently right now I'm doing an inventory of, or just kind of checking out other towns and cities similar in size, or maybe there's some relationship somehow in size, scope, or what it is that they do. And looking to see how they handle vacant buildings. So some have a vacancy list registry that they require property owners to actually register, pay a fee. It is renewed annually. Then there's an opportunity for some pressure to be put on the building owner to make sure that they're in compliance for outside ordinances as well as interior ordinances based on safety as well as costs to the city, because vacancies do cost money to the city. And we're gonna look to see how we can actually kind of give you a quantity of that. You know, when you have XYZ vacant, they have a higher incidence of arson, or, you know, there's more incidences of police being called to that area. There's a number of things that could be happening, right? So we're in the process of that. Now I have 16 cities that I've looked at through North Carolina. We really kind of wanted to stay in our box. We're Dillon's rural state, which might not mean anything to you, but what it really means is that we can't do it unless the General Assembly says that we can do it. Other states have a rule that if it doesn't specifically prohibit you from doing it, then you can do it, but that isn't what Dillon's rule is. So we felt like it was better to make sure that we were doing apple to apple, literally, for the nice state of, or, you know, city of Hendersonville from that perspective. So very quickly, I've been able to find out that not a lot of cities are doing the vacancy registry. Some huge success from it. There is some success from other measures. So I'm getting that information together for Jamie and to be able to make a presentation to her very shortly. Additionally, I've been updating the downtown business directory online. So I probably know all of you more than you want me to know you, because I've literally been in everything, but we've started to make sure that the list of vacant properties are located there. And I know the list is incomplete. Currently, right now, I have 12 or 16 properties listed as vacant, and 2 offices that I need to follow up on. Clearly, the list isn't complete. So if you want to take a look underneath the business registry, if not, you can take a look at this list here and just add on. Nancy did a list last year, and I think we're looking to see if we can get with you to Because you already have a lot of legwork in that, and I'd love to be able to utilize your research and kind of put it together. The intention is to be able to show you the volume in one place with a picture. As well as be able to have a tool for somebody who's come to town and goes to our farmer's market and decides that they want to rent a building because they have to put a restaurant here. That would be a great resource for them to utilize. So really it's an opportunity to help as well as to just kind of understand how many there really are. Because I think when you say a whole lot, you don't really know until you can start counting them. I would also like to add the lots. They might not necessarily be for sale, but at least being able to put the numbered lots that don't have buildings on them as well, I think would be interesting to add, because it kind of gives you a fuller story. Because I estimated that we would have probably about 27 properties that are vacant. But I don't know the upstairs, and I think I'm missing some stuff on the side streets. And then certainly the lots, I don't know how many lots are empty, but there's quite a bit going down 7.
So you want us to,
Yeah, you can have it, you don't,
no, like one that's on the list, I own it.
Oh, okay,
So
yeah,
you-
yeah, once you
Could you
got,
say if you know listing agent or owner?
yes, absolutely.
So where do you want me to put that?
Wherever you wanna put it, if you wanna put it next to the address, it's
I've got that one, if you just.
Okay, yeah,
you're good.
Yeah,
I'm working on it.
Oh, we wanna help you too, we wanna help you too.
yeah, we've got several lists, they're just in all different places, so it's a matter of figuring out a way to like.
And then, I did wanna let you know that, of course, I have 449 North Main Street listed as available. But currently operating as Beehive, and then I have 429, which was Just Stucky, being the future home of Beehive, and then I have the Pinky Promise Bar at 101 South Main Street. Yes, I have Earth and Heron listed as well as coming soon. So if you know of anything, please feel free to email me on sweeney@adl.
HCLNZ.gov.
Yeah, that place.
Ellen,
So no, I don't even know my my email address. Yeah, so if you look at the
yeah, because some of y'all might not even be familiar, so on our website, we've got the downtown business directory. And so this got all of the businesses here, but then what she's been doing is. If you decide vacant, then that comes to the ones that we currently have that are vacant or available.
and my intention is to try and make sure that there's a picture attached to it as well. Because if that helps somebody who doesn't know, and if I'm able to see information like this one at 317 North Main, I was able to find the square footage, the asking price, trying to give you a little bit of detail. I think we all have that opportunity to be, to help sell it. Yeah.
Are you doing are you doing total building vacancies? Or are you also doing?
Yeah, I wanted to do everything from I'm gonna say first to ninth, but you know that we should probably include Allen, Coswell, Barnwell, Church and King. And I know that on one side of the street, it's not us, but the other side of the street it is.
For the MSD, yeah.
But of course, Locust, and Grove, trying to think, you guys are testing all of my street knowledge. I don't know Seventh Avenue like I know this little area. But anything that you think needs to be on that list, and I will soon have time to where I can do some updated photos. If I haven't been able to scour a photo off of your website, and just rip it off and put it in here, then I will make an appointment with my camera to go down there and take a picture and make sure that we're there. But, we've been able to go through and look to see if somebody's website is up to date, whether the Facebook is up to date, and making sure that we have that. But I think the other thing that we're looking at is maybe some marketing assistance for people who might not know the value of a website, or what do you really do with an X account? Because I really don't know. So I know that we will find somebody who will be able to answer that question, but I definitely think a website is helpful, and I'm certain that social media is helpful as well. So there's a lot to be done with this business directory.
For the sake of inventory, I definitely think more is better. When it's come time to write a policy, what kind of scope can we actually, is it just gonna be limited to the Main Street district?
it'll probably end up being commercial buildings because they've got a, what's commercial maintenance ordinance.
Hmm.
And so I think it probably, would tie in with commercial maintenance in some way. So it would be tied in with code enforcement probably.
Safety, yeah.
Yeah, cause some of it would just be like. Some of it currently is just like what you can or can't have, like covered broken windows and stuff like that. So I'm not exactly sure. Some of that will really kind of fall in on that code enforcement side and what they think is best there, cause. I'm not sure how much can or can't be necessarily enforced, but having that inventory of it will be helpful. And I think even if we might just be focused on downtown, I would like for ours, so we've got, maybe not on the website, but in our own inventory inside would be like areas just outside of downtown. Like, remember when we did the downtown master plan and it had like that downtown edge area?
Street on each
Yeah,
side,
so like looking into that, because all of that might eventually kind of be downtown. And so kind of looking at those other opportunities there. There's a lot of vacancies just outside of the districts.
Eventually, this will have to go to city council, whatever policy we come up with.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of variation, a lot of cities, you have to make sure that the store doesn't look vacant. And I don't know how you enforce that, like what ideas do you give them to make it not look vacant, other than, have counting lights and possibly a window display, or, I'm sure there's all kinds of smoke and mirrors that can be recommended from that. But there was also exceptions to the list if you are actively listed, or if you are under construction and you have a timeline for that to be done. I think the intention is really to get the buildings moving, as opposed to penalizing a property owner who is actually, full-throatedly wanting to have the properties leased and available and out there. So, I think there's some flexibility there. But there's been some creative ones. There's been some ones where I'm like, I don't know if you're gonna get $2,000 for somebody to be listed on a vacancy registry. But I think, the important part is to have the list and know that there's power in the list. And having acknowledged and having it being acknowledged and being able to be seen is sometimes more powerful than levying a fine that just kind of creates bitterness, which isn't necessarily what you.
Are there cities similar to us that have had good results?
Yes, Cherryville is probably the one that I would say has the best results so far. They started off with 36 buildings on their list. Now, Cherryville is much smaller than Hendersonville, but think about that, 36 buildings they had on the vacancy list, and within a year, they were able to be down to 11 properties. Now, I don't know what.
They have one guy.
They have one guy.
Who fix a lot of their.
But I also don't know, like, how much they did, what needed to be done.
They're a lot cheaper there.
So there's a lot of things where you could go, well, but you don't also know all of the history of that. And I think we do have some brown area sites too. There's probably some other things. I was just talking to Sam about the gas station that's up here, have the gas tanks been removed? If he were to sell that property, that would be one of the things that he would have to answer, or that could be an impediment to doing that. So, and there's just things that we don't know. We don't know what we don't know. But I'm trying to look at best practices all the way around. The big cities don't care in North Carolina. Great examples coming out of Detroit, out of Philly, and other cities that have dealt with light and are specifically looking to try and revitalize areas. So very interesting, some of the things that they've done. And they've been able to attach quantitatively, how much a run of, vacant buildings or a block, how much that costs them in fire protection, police protection, and additional resources that just gets eaten up from the city having to manage those. And then, of course, you have the landlords that aren't, or the owners that aren't always paying the taxes that go with that. So we'll see. Still in the beginning stages, still sipping coffee and reading. But getting it together, and this will be something that I will continue to update as I can. But really, I'm here to be an asset for Jamie's team, which means that I get to be an asset for you.
Now, the inventory is gonna be super valuable.
Yeah.
And once we have it comprehensive and updated and current.
Yeah, we're close. It's just a matter of kind of piecing different things together for it. And then there's another thing that with for the vacant buildings, that some other downtowns will have buildings that are then gifted to the organization or to the city or something like that as a tax benefit, ones that are just people don't even want to buy. And then like an organization might stabilize it and then sell it and then have the ability to sell it for something that's a good fit. Cause that's with the vacant buildings, you don't want to pressure people too much to rent something out and then it's like something crappy in there. So that's kind of what something we'll have to look at.
There were a couple of cities that had restrictions on what could go into the business district areas. And I saw two things, like a name of, listing of desired businesses in this area, and then also a cap at certain businesses, right? Like I don't, I'm not saying anything about the very small people, but I think we got it covered. Right, and of course, as a restaurant person, I never think that we have enough restaurants, and we could always have more of that. And looking at the comprehensive plan for Hendersonville, there's definitely a direction of businesses that are very much desired places that offer adult beverages are needed, third place pieces. General stores, believe it or not, even though we have masks, those are all desired. There's other ones that we're good. We've got enough. We don't need another grocery store after we get Fresh Market and Harris Teeter back up. But there's good information in there too.
We all can hear lots from Stephanie this summer.
So that'll be kind of the goal, the focus of this committee, future, long-term. So think about what we want, what we'd like to see, the problem that we're trying to address. We don't want to be super aggressive to turn off like the big cities are, turn off landlords, but there's a problem that we're trying to solve.
Yeah, you want to work together. And that's the thing that I think you should remember is like, I was very surprised. I thought that, and trust me, I'm a restaurant hotel person. I'm not afraid to slap a fee on anything and get as much money out of it as possible. But I don't think that actually gets you where you want to go. You want compliance and you want people to feel like they're being helped. So I think that there's a different approach to it.
Great, thank you. And I think, that'll be a good topic of discussion for this board and everybody's voice will be appreciated in the discussion.
One quick thing that I had to add for today, unrelated, but so May 16th through 23rd is Strive Not to Drive Week, which is like just a promotion of people walking or biking to downtown or to work. And so we had put out for businesses, this is just a draft, so don't go out handing it out because I might have more to add. These were the businesses that submitted that they wanted to be a part of it. And so basically it's just like a little passport that people will get a little stamp if they rode their bike to any of those places. So anyone in this room isn't on here and wants to be on there, just let me know because I'll be getting that out soon. Just a promotion to get people out and riding their bikes. And then people will turn them in and then go to at the TDA and be able to get some downtown dollars. And the only other update I had is we will be getting some facade grants coming up for Jane Asher Building, and I'm sure probably from Erica's building. So we will have a couple more facade grants that'll be coming up.
So what they've already done at that building would qualify on the basement, I would think.
Well, we won't fund it retroactively.
Well, right, but if they come to us with it.
That's the type of work that.
Yeah, but they've got work to do on the storefront, so that's probably what they'll, and they've already gone through Historic Preservation Commission on those, because they have to before they do the work on those. And so I'm meeting with them soon to kind of go through their application for it. I'm sure they'll be having to take out all the doors and everything for it.
Is that the one that's being cut into two storefronts?
That's what they proposed for.
That's what they're proposing?
Yeah.
So the door for Jane Asher, where does that door go upstairs?
The side door?
Yeah.
Oh, the side doors, yeah.
Okay, because Aaron and I were looking at that piece of wood above it, that was probably a window.
Yeah, yeah, so, here, let me pull up pictures to show you, on our downtown Facebook page.
Figured it out right.
If I can,
Residences up there.
I just love the brick on this building.
Mixed together. Yeah, it's brown.
it'll let me.
It is, the brickwork is phenomenal.
It's good underneath.
Stand. Are you on here?
Nothing.
No, well, you don't need to do anything. None of your business. You're they're busy.
I'm busy enough, I don't need it.
Agreed.
Agreed. It was so fun.
Oh, I like that honeysuckle holler is on here. Honeysuckle.
Right.
Nice.
Right, it has that.
Let me pull up the picture real quick, if it'll let me.
Yeah, it looks like it's a good sized window above us.
I don't need the picture that is on.
No,
Well, it's a matter of taste, but it's
Yeah.
not a matter of history or architecture.
We from like the eighties. Distinctively from that era.
See.
I call it the cheese grater.
I haven't even.
No, I'm talking about.
You mean the
I
seventies?
can do it without logging in.
Stefan, you haven't seen the brickwork yet?
No, look, it's like.
Well, so this is it.
They used to do the back.
So that one here it was windows that you can tell from, because I've got a. Yeah, so this is the only historic picture we could ever find of it, and this. I think is like a old tile transom window, yeah. This is the only picture we've ever found of this building ever, it took us forever to find it, yeah.
And see that yellow right there?
Yeah, yeah, so they've proposed, some updated windows for here. And so I'm gonna meet with them to see what it is they're wanting to do, but this might be one preview for coming up, that we might want to use our grants to make sure that those are windows that are kind of like this style, to kind of like as an incentive to do windows that are more fitting. Now, and they've got the new windows already here. It's an older picture.
Yeah, the new windows look great.
Yeah,
They do.
yeah. So
What are they putting upstairs? Is that gonna be?
It's a residence.
that's their long-term plans residents, but I don't know what their timeline is on it.
Yeah.
Okay. There's all kinds of exciting stuff. We have a lot of new businesses coming in and
Mhm.
moving around. So if you hear people say that Main Street's empty, ask them what they're talking about. Not very empty.
But if we have missed anything on the business directory for businesses that you know or have been coming, then just let me know. I hope that we've gotten everybody. Jamie's pretty plugged in. And between Jamie and Terry and Dakota, they all know everybody who's gonna be here, so.
Terry does.
There it goes.
Terry does. Terry is.
Terry's our social.
Here's the ear to the ground.
All right, that's all.
That's the agenda. We made good time. Unless anybody has anything else to add, can we get a motion to adjourn?
Motion to adjourn.
Wow, look at that. Thanks for coming, everybody.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, just send me all that and then we'll.
No, I-
Perfect.